So here's where I disagree with Simon Sinek. Hey guys, it's Dustin Oldfather from the Oldfather Group of Sotheby's International Realty and owner of Motto Mortgage, and we insure prosperity. I'm reading Simon's new book, The Infinite Game. It occurred to me that before we have the conversation about finite or infinite games, we need to revisit one of his earlier books, The Power of Why, I believe is the title. And in it, basically, he says that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And this kind of translates into the same work from Jim Collins in Good to Great, where he says every business has to have a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal, and something that's outlandish that drives everybody forward. And here's where I think that falls apart. It's a fallacy. We don't have to have a big why to do great work. And in fact, I'm not so sure that it's even fair for everyone to have this expectation of a big why. It's a kind of a nebulous thing. No one quite knows what it means. It's, okay, this is the reason I get up in the morning. Truthfully, all of us, we do things in our jobs and things that we do every single day that we don't like to do. And so you can love who you work with or who you work for. You can love what you do, the actual industry that you're in, for the environment that it creates. You can be in love with how you do things. You may be a perfectionist or somebody who likes to do things a certain way. And you can love where you do things. It may be exciting. We had Donna Etsitas, who used to work with us. She loved working for the post office and had done that for many, many years. And she got a ticket to work on one of the Barrier Islands in Florida. And she's a mail carrier on the Gulf Coast. So it's one of those amazing situations where, she likes her work. Okay, it's hard work, but she loves where she does it. And when all of those things are answered in a positive way, you have a really transformative experience. But we often do things for others in order to be able to facilitate the needs of our family or maybe for an elderly parent. And so there's a fallacy here of the big why. I think it's noble and it's an elegant idea, but I think it fails in the field. Which kind of brings me to Simon's discussion about the infinite game. In it, he kind of sets the table and he says, if there are two players, a game exists, and there's two kinds of games. Finite games are played by known players, they have fixed rules, and there's agreed upon objective that when reached ends the game. Infinite games, in contrast, are played by known and unknown players. There's no exact or agreed upon rules, though there may be conventions or laws that govern how the players conduct themselves. Within those broad boundaries, the players can operate however they want. Infinite games have infinite time horizons, and because there's no finish line, no practical end of the game, there is no such thing as winning an infinite game. In an infinite game, the primary objective is to keep playing, to perpetuate the game. And business is an infinite game. As we look forward, we kind of say, okay, what exactly how does this apply to us? It's important for us from time to time to take a step back from what we're doing. Maybe the big why, the who, the what, the how, all of these things, to say, which game are we playing? Are we playing to win, to beat the competitors, or are we playing with what Simon will call a just cause, which really can drive someone without a time horizon, which there's no end. Having a just cause to transform an industry, or a just cause to change lives, and whatever mechanism that is. The idea is that in order to be able to have the energy to follow through on a very long time horizon, is you've got to have something that you're excited about. And for me, I think we need to think about that. That could be why, who, where, when, what. It can be all of those questions. We don't need to pigeonhole ourselves into this one idea of we have to know what our why is. I think it's become quite cliche. And as I said, it fails for many of us. We had dinner yesterday. I had a quick bite. We went to Jungle Gyms with the girls, and obviously being responsible and keeping our distance, but got to splash around the water a little bit. And we got to pass over to a restaurant called Blue Coast. And it reminded me of Matt Haley. Many years ago, when I was going through college, I bartended, and it's part of where I met my wife here in Rehoboth Beach. We had come to know, one of the chefs in town. His name was Matt Haley. He was a wonderful chef, first of all, but he also had a kind of a known alcohol and drug problem. For many years, Matt was kind of on the fringes and certainly was living a wild lifestyle. And at some point, he made the decision that he was going to make a change. He got clean, and he was just a delightful guy. What he did is he went from being a chef in one of the higher profile restaurants in town, Rehoboth, which they're small in scale for pretty much any metropolitan center, but he was a big character. And so he changed the way that he applied his talents. He became somebody who wanted to teach others about how to be a chef and how to pick great ingredients. Went on to start, Redfin, I believe, in multiple restaurants, and then created basically a training environment through all of his restaurants to the point now where there are over 12 high-profile, high-production restaurants throughout this area. And that's a beautiful part of, wow, he played this infinite game. What I'm describing is a legacy, though, because he was killed several years ago. He was killed in India, living his passion. There's some discussion that he was there to try to help combat sex trafficking. And so he was there for a noble cause, lost his life, and yet his legacy has continued. He's lived infinitely. It's interesting because I remember seeing him on the cover of the magazine before he went on his trip, and we all knew him. It was amazing to watch. It was interesting at the time we would talk to him and he would be going to buy an oyster bar. And I'm like, can you even buy an oyster bar? What is that? Like, yeah, there are different kinds of oyster bars. You could buy them. At the time, an oyster was an oyster to me, and we gotten older, we gotten a little bit spoiled and got to taste some of those different things. But it always makes me smile when I look back and I look at the amplification of one person's change and trying to live infinitely and help others. And that was his cause. He wanted to change things for other people. He wanted to change immigrants' lives. He wanted to change young restaurant workers' lives. He wanted to create a way so that people were able to improve themselves. You don't have to change the universe. I don't have to change the universe, but we should do everything we can to change our universes, the people that are close to us and everybody that we can impact. Consider when we're making our choices for life, whether it's in our health, our wealth, our relationships, which at the end we all think are the most important thing, but sometimes we don't give them the attention that we need. Our finances or our industry, what we do, what, how, all those things. We need to remember which game we're playing. And some of these games, for business or for finance, they're finite. Great, we need a certain amount of money to be able to do this and to carry on and be able to take care of the people that we need to this way. In some parts of our life, hopefully our health, we're playing to continue to extend the game, that infinite game, so we can be along longer and help more people and to transform more lives.